friends, how are you? I hope everyone's well. Today we're going to talk about up-potting a fruit tree, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Basically, you're going to select your fruit tree as you can see here. Select a container, drill some holes in your container so you have plenty of drainage. After that, you're going to select the soil you want to use for this fruit tree, and then you're going to up-pot it into your new container with your new amazing soil. And that's it, guys. It's that easy. Thank you for watching. Friends, it really is that easy, but I was totally joking. This video is actually a little bit longer and I'm going to get into details. I'm actually going to up-pot my pineapple guava. As you guys know, my pineapple guava has been in my garden for the last 3 to 4 years and it's not doing so well. And the reason why it's not doing so well is because it's completely root bound. The soil had really deplenished and absorbed by all the roots. Now what we need to do is pull it out, give it a little root pruning, and give it some good soil so it can continue to grow. Raise the soil level, that way there's more soil in the root ball, and give it some amazing surestar, that way it can help the roots get established and prevent the tree from it going into shock. As you guys can see here, I'm going to walk you step by step on what you need to do. First thing I did is I made sure I grabbed the plastic to cover the ground, not only to protect the ground, but most importantly to continue to harvest the soil that you're going to get out of this container. This plastic, I actually got it from the big box store, and it's just painter's protection for your floor when you decide to paint a room or something in your garden. In your room or in your house. So as you can see, I already have the container. It already has holes and well drainage. So what I'm going to do now is basically just pull it out of this container. That way I can see what is going on with the roots. This tree has pretty much has stopped growing and it doesn't look very well. So once we do this, after a few weeks, maybe a month or two, it's going to look completely wonderful. As you can see, look at this container. I know you were able to see the holes, which means that this container has plenty of drainage. So that's perfect. At first when I saw the soil, I didn't think that it was root bound, but what I noticed about this pineapple guava is that their roots are completely, well, they're tiny little roots. They're thin like hairs, and they kind of camouflage and blend in with the soil. But once I try to loosen up the soil, as you can see, there's really not much soil getting loose, and that is because the roots of the pineapple guava are very thin. So this tree was definitely root bound. So what I'm going to do is just kind of tease the roots. That way it knows that it's going to have more space to grow, and that way it can kind of wake up a little bit. And as you can see, I had a really thick layer of mulch right above the feeder roots, and that's all the soil that came off. So that's really good. That's a good sign. That's what was helping this tree stay alive. But the soil had dropped dramatically, so now we're going to replenish it. As you can see, I'm just going to scrape some soil from every corner of this root ball, and that I'm going to do it gently because I don't want this tree to go into shock. I'm going to try my best to, just loosen up the soil and give this little tree a little wake-up call. And as you can see, all the soil is falling onto the plastic, which means when I'm done, it's going to be an easier cleanup. And also I'm going to be able to harvest all that soil and reuse it, because really all this tree needs is some amendment and a little bit more soil to continue to grow and thrive. Look at this. This root ball is humongous and it is a hard root ball. So definitely going to need some time and just shake it all off. Now while I do that, I want to talk to you guys about the soil. Now you can select any soil you want. I prefer EV stone. I'm going to put a picture of what I'm using. I got a huge metal trash can where I'm storing my citrus and palm soil because that is the soil that I use the most. I absolutely love that soil, and I pretty much would grow anything in that soil, even if it's not citrus, just because it has the right combination of porous and drainage, and it also holds a little bit of moisture, which your trees love, especially if they're growing in container. So I'm going to use that soil, and also surestar is a product from Maybe Stone that helps the roots get established and prevent shock. So that's what I'm going to do. I actually have it in this red container, but I decided to put it in there because the box was already breaking and falling apart, and I think this was the perfect way to store it. So now, as you can see, I brought the container close to my trash can where I have my EB Stone citrus and palm soil, and I'm going to start filling my container. Now I am going to show you guys what else I add into this soil, that way it has plenty of nutrients for this tree to thrive. Since this tree is a pretty mature tree, it definitely needs all that it can get. I also purchased some EB Stone worm castings, and I have some compost that I'm going to harvest and some worm tea to mix into this potting mix that I'm putting for my amazing pineapple guava. And I haven't showed you guys my potting table that I have here behind. I purchased these containers where I can store my worm castings and some other soil that I use for my potting plants, for my indoor plants, so you can see them right there. But for now, take a look at this soil. Isn't it amazing? I absolutely love this soil. It's one of my favorites, and like I mentioned earlier, I use it in just about anything that I want to grow. Now that I went ahead and got enough soil, because keep in mind I'm still going to backfill it with the current soil, and I'm still have that huge root ball to put back in there, so I didn't fill the container all the way to the top. And if you're wondering what those rocks are doing in that container, basically what I did in the past when I first potted this container, I went ahead and put some rocks at the bottom of the container where the holes were, because I didn't want the holes to get drained, and I didn't want the hose to get plugged, and I didn't want my soil to start leaking through the holes. I didn't show it in the beginning of the video, but I did choose one rock for each hole, and I pretty much plugged it with the rock, but it wasn't completely plugged because it's still allowing water to drain out. And as you can see here now, what I'm going to do is slowly start mixing both the old soil with the new soil. I'm going to go grab my worm castings and my surestar, and so I'm going to use some of the soil booster from Maybe Stone. This product is amazing. Since this is not a citrus, I am going to add this to it, and I think it would be the perfect combination for this tree, because the soil booster, oh my god, it has so much nutrients, it holds moisture, which this tree needs it, and it's going to be an amazing soil mixture. I can't wait to see how this tree is going to turn out. Now you can do this to any trees that you're growing. If it's citrus, I would just stick to the citrus and palm. I wouldn't use anything else other than the actual citrus and palm soil. Worm castings and surestar is what I would use for the citrus. If you're getting a stone fruit, or like this pineapple guava, here's my worm castings. If you're using for this pineapple guava, then yeah, I would use something else like soil booster to help. And here is my surestar. I saved the label so I know what I have in here, and I'm just going to mix it in with the soil that I have ready for this tree. Now that I'm done creating this mixture inside the container, I'm going to recycle this mixture again. Like I mentioned earlier, do not waste your soil. It could easily be amended, and since there's more room in this container, I'm going to backfill it. And I decided to use this big dustpan because it made it super easy to scoop up the soil. I didn't want to take little tiny scoops of soil with my hand and let it take forever. If you guys have one of these, I highly suggest for you to use it because it is super handy. Now, as you guys can see, this tree is a little heavy. If you guys are going to have this project please get some help. Don't hurt yourself. Fortunately, I was able to handle this by myself, but there has been other projects where I got to the middle of it and I had to call my husband for help because I thought I can pick up the tree, but little did I know it was way too heavy. I didn't want to hurt my back and I didn't want to hurt the tree, so I got some help. So if you have something planned like this, make sure to get some help. That way you don't hurt yourself and your project doesn't stop in the middle of it. As you can see here, I'm going to put some more surestar around the root ball because I did put some in the formula down below, but I want my tree to have easy access to the surestar so it cannot go into shock. I'm also going to get some more worm castings, and I'm basically creating the same formula I did at the bottom of the container all around the root ball, so that way it has access to good nutrients all around, not just at the bottom roots. So I'm going to do that now, so that way it already has contact with all these great amendments. And what I'm also going to do is, with the remaining soil on the ground that I'm recycling, I am going to also do a little soil mixture. So I'm going to add some citrus and palm soil to this little pile of recycled soil, and I'm going to add some booster soil. I'm going to add some more surestar and some more worm castings. That way, with the soil that I'm adding all around the container is the same mixture that I have down below. Now I still have some rocks left here, so I'm going to remove them all because I do not want rocks all around my root ball. I want the root ball to have as much soil as possible, and as you can see here, it already doesn't have a lot of space between the root ball and the container. So the more nutrients and the more soil that you can give it, the better. As you can see here, I am mixing it all in. That way it has a good mixture all around. I'm super excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for all your support. I hope this video is helpful. Now at the end, I am going to harvest some worm castings, so please stay till the end because you're gonna see my little worm bin and my worm tea that I'm going to harvest. I'm so excited to share that part with you guys. But for now, let's just continue mixing this in and backfilling the container. I do want to say, when you backfill the container, you want to make sure that you add a lot of pressure on the soil and push it all down, because you do not want to have any air bubbles. You want to make sure that your roots have full contact with the soil. So when you put all the soil in here, use your fingers to push the soil down around the root ball. Be careful because it does tend to spill, especially when you have your root ball this high up. Now you see, it is a super easy process to do. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of care, and a little bit of knowledge, and you are all set to go. I'm so excited you guys are here watching this video. I really hope this video was helpful to you. Please leave any comments or questions in the comments down below. If you want to see more video like this and you benefited and enjoyed this video, please give me some thumbs up, share with your family and friends, with all your social media, and I want to hear from you. Here I'm pushing the tree where I'm going to leave it. It's going to be in a shady spot, which is very important. When you transplant a tree, do not put it in direct sun. You want to put it somewhere where it's bright and there is shade, so that way your tree doesn't go into shock. Right now it doesn't have full contact with the roots, so you don't want to dehydrate the tree, because it will get dehydrated, because it won't have easy drinking access to the water because the roots are not fully contacted. So just make sure to leave it in the shade. I would leave it for a week or two until it gets reestablished and it starts thriving again. Okay, I'm going to continue to clean, and all the mulch that I took off, I'm going to use it, and then I'm going to put it back into the container. And then when I'm officially cleaning up, then I'm going to water my tree. But if you made it this far, thank you so much. Please remember that you do not want your tree to be sitting in direct sun, especially during the summer days when the heat is extremely hot, because your tree will leaves. You don't want that. Now, another thing I'm going to do to this tree, because it's just been neglected and it was doing pretty bad because it wasn't getting enough water. I moved this tree several spots, trying to figure out where exactly this tree will grow and thrive the best. Where I had it last, it wasn't thriving mainly because I keep forgetting to water that section of the garden, and for that reason it started to do terrible. So now I'm going to keep it here where I can see it every day I come out to my garden, and also keep it in the shade. So it's very important that when you get a tree that you move it around to see where the tree thrives and likes to be, because just because the labels say, oh, full sun, it doesn't necessarily mean that in your microclimate it will do well in full sun. It just depends. So please pay attention to your trees and the signs that they give you on how they're liking where they're at or they're not, because the trees will talk to you. They will give you signs that will let you know how the trees are doing. Here's a little worm that's inside my soil, which is an amazing sign. That means that the soil is alive and thriving and growing. So whenever you see worms, be happy to see them because they're helping your tree to grow. Final little steps. As you can see, all I need to do is pick up this little mess before I can actually water my little pineapple guava. I almost thought that this year was going to be the year that I was going to get fruit, but I forgot to water it, and basically the leaves, the little blooms fell off and the fruit fell off. So lesson learned: water when it's super hot, and don't forget about it like I did. Let's get this cleaned up and ready to go. Now that I'm finally all done, it is time to harvest some of that amazing worm tea from my warm compost bin, which I haven't actually shared with you guys. I'm going to do a video of when I set it up and how to set it up, and what I've been doing to feed my amazing little worms that I received from a dear friend called Steve Liss. He has a school in Silmar that teaches all about agriculture. He is amazing, and I've learned so much from him. So what I'm going to do here is put it in my little watering can and add some water and give my pineapple guava some amazing watering. As you guys can see, this tree is going to be so happy. The last thing I did for this tree is trimmed away all the excessive branches that were dying, any branches that I didn't like where they were growing, anything that was crossing each other, or anything that just looked terrible. I gave it a very good trimming after this wonderful watering here. Oh my god, I'm so excited. This tree looks so much better than what it did before, and it's only going to get better from this point on. I've learned so much from this tree. It definitely doesn't like to be in full sun. Alright, as you guys can see, I'm completely filled with dirt. My shirt was clean and it no longer is, but it's okay. I'm going to give it a very harsh trimming to ensure that this tree gets up to a good start, and that way it can look a lot prettier and have a better shape. And basically I'm going to take any of the branches that are on the lower stem, any branches that are crossing, and anything that looks ugly. So let's go ahead and get started. I definitely learned a lot from this tree. This tree definitely doesn't like to be in the sun, or direct sun I should say. Once the root ball gets really big like this one did, it's going to need some uppotting. This tree has a pretty well established root ball, so I'm probably going to have to do this once a year or once every other year. I'm going to have to wait and see how it does. I let the trees tell me what they need. I don't just assume and do it anyways. I just take a look at my trees, and if they're thriving, I let them be. If they're not, then I am going to uppot them, root prune them, and give them some amendment soil like I did here. This is a perfect example of also for my kumquats. If you guys saw that video, you guys saw that there was one kumquat that was thriving and one that had yellow leaves, and that's because the kumquat that was thriving, I did this a year and a half ago, so therefore it is thriving now. But the one that's not thriving, I haven't done it at all since I uppotted it, so it is definitely time. Your trees will speak to you, so you let them speak to you, and you do what you need to. Guys, I am so happy to have you guys here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm blessed for all your support and all the love that I constantly get. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Alright friends, so every tree, just like us, has a face and a back. front and the back. In this case, this is the back of the tree. You can tell because all the leaves are facing forward. You can alternate it, so if you want it to be fuller around there. I'm not sure what I want to do with this tree, but I want to see what the other side looks like. It looks pretty bare as well. However, there's more green on this side. Okay, you can tell that I had to trim a few branches here compared to how I used to have it. And I just saw a very, very cute pair of mantis. I'm gonna show you guys so you guys can see this adorable pair of mantis.